Hey everyone, I need your attention for 1 minute. This is not one of those ads. This is something that has changed my entire life. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that this is all about personal development as the foundation for everything good in your life. And this podcast is now sponsored by Growth Day, which is the world's first all-in-one personal development app. I mean, oh my gosh, can you imagine having everything all in one place that you need to create the life that you want? Now you can. So if you've been struggling with your motivation, your mood, your productivity, or your purpose, you have to check this out. Growth Day helps you consciously change your life and achieve your potential. It has all the self-improvement tools, motivational classes, and life coaching all in one place. So many of us want to improve our lives, but the question is how? Where do we start? What do we use? How do you get unstuck? How do you make self-improvement stick? Well, research shows how. It's when you consistently journal, track your habits, set goals, learn from empowering mentors, and challenge yourself that you'll be happier, healthier, and more successful. But let me ask you something. Where do you actually do all of your personal development work? I have to tell you that over 300,000 people use Growth Day for a reason. It works. It's the world's #1 software for self-improvement. Growth Day has an amazing mindset journal that I absolutely love, a habit tracker, and a goal-setting system. In fact, I bet if you went to my stories this week, you probably saw me using the journaling app and telling you to do it too, because it's the first time that journaling has ever actually stuck consistently in my life because of this app. And best of all, Growth Day has live inspirational classes every single week from the world's top motivational speakers and life coaches. These are people who have impacted my life in huge ways. These are mentors who I already knew and loved. In fact, this is something that's so huge for me, you guys. I personally teach a class in Growth Day every single month, and it is one of the most fun things that I get to do, and I'd love to see you there. These classes will truly shift your life. There's always something new that you will learn. So join me and 300,000 achievers growing our lives with actual real intention. Visit growthday.com/Lori for a free trial. Yes, you can try this for free. So go to growthday.com/Lori and go live your best life. You guys, that's growthday.com/Lori. And I can't wait to see you there.
This program is one of the few triple wins out there. It's a win for a company like us because we can offer a product without charging anything up front. Mm-hmm. And that product, if you want to call it that, is, as you mentioned, Chris, free money. We can't really say that. So it is a tax credit. And we can help them obtain that or qualify for it or see if they qualify for it. And the government too is trying to get money out into the system and all the benefits of that program. And so it is a win-win-win all around.
Welcome back to the show. If you are a business owner, you don't want to miss this. This could be a massive opportunity for you to get cash back in your pockets. This blew our mind. Chris and I interviewed these guys, who I'm going to tell you about in 1 second. And we found out that we are also eligible for cash back. So you guys are not going to want to miss this, because today we have Mark Sullivan and Josh Zieglowsky on the show. Mark is the CEO of ERC Specialists. Josh is the co-founder and CBDO. Mark has more than 20 years of experience building and scaling profitable companies. When Mark heard about ERC Specialists, he immediately saw the opportunity to help thousands of business owners recover from the pandemic. And he answered the call to lead the company as CEO. And I can tell you that even with my company, we really took a hit during the pandemic with long delays, nobody going to work at manufacturing and co-packing, and really having to sit and keep employees on or let go of people. You guys, it was a very challenging time for anyone who had a business. Josh has been an entrepreneur for almost 20 years. His primary focus is investing in residential and commercial real estate. His key expertise includes asset and portfolio management, broker relations, investor and client relations, banking relations, economic and demographic trends, market analysis, due diligence oversight, financing oversight, acquisition and disposition strategies, transaction oversight, and business development. And all I can say is I didn't even know that this program was available. So you guys listen to the podcast in its entirety. Make sure that you go check everything out and you'll be able to see if you're eligible as well. And you'll be directed to exactly where to go. So let's get started on the show.
All right, Mark, Josh, thanks for taking the time to be on the show. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic.
Doing great. Thanks for having us on.
We are so excited to have you on. And you guys, you are getting a 2-for-1 today on Earn Your Happy and on the Chris Harder Show. So we heard about what you guys were doing and we were just really excited to chat and ask all of the questions that we can and fill in our audience on some things that could potentially be really amazing for them.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, Lori and I like to think we know what's going on when it comes to business and opportunities. And we had no idea. And I really want to stress this. We have an incredible accounting team, and we still had no idea that we qualified for this ERC tax credit and how large it actually could be. And I feel like nobody's talking about this thing, and I don't understand why. And so we thought it might be a really cool opportunity because we have so many entrepreneurs in our audience to bring this out into the open and talk about this. I guess jokingly, I almost want to call it free money, but
legal has said not to use that on our.
We will take that out.
We can't say that, but if you want to say that, it might be close to what this is.
That's wild. Okay, well, let's start with this. Let's go right for the goods. What in the world is the ERC tax credit?
It was basically started because there was another COVID relief fund. PPP and EIDL started in the pandemic. Well, technically, ERC started the exact same time as PPP, but you couldn't get one or the other, right? Yep. Then President Biden amended it, made what's called under the CARES Act, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, to make it so business owners can now receive this. And it's just another stimulus. I mean, even for me, I found this opportunity because I was actually trying to help one of my other oil companies with stimulus, because I don't know if you remember, but price per barrel of oil in 2020 was negative $30 a barrel.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah. So
if someone is hearing what this is for the first time, it's an acronym. ERC stands for Employee Retention Tax Credit. But there's a few things that are wrong about that. You did not need to have retained employees, and it's not on taxes that you paid. It is a tax credit, meaning we're filing a tax document. But to summarize what ERC is, it is a refund to the business owner or to the business. So that our audience that we're talking to are business owners. It's a refund on the W-2 wages that you paid as an employer. Mm-hmm. So if you paid $40,000 in a particular quarter for your business, this credit might be 70% of that, 28 grand back to you.
Wow. And that's just for a quarter. You get to add a bunch of quarters together.
Well, so it is $26,000 max per employee. So you have 10 employees, we're talking about 250 grand potentially as a credit. And I say potentially, our average credit in that scenario is like 160 to 170,000. We don't always get to the max because there's a few factors, but this is a substantial credit.
That's funny you mentioned 160. I had no idea that was the average. I went through the line of questioning, right? There's really easy pre-qual anonymous questioning that people can go through. Matter of fact, we should give them that website real quick. If you guys want to run through that, you can go to fastercexperts.com. That's experts with an S on the end. fastercexperts.com. I went through the questions there. And after going a little bit further, I realized I qualify for probably around $160,000. So I am literally Mr. Average in the calculation of who you guys are helping.
Yeah. And another thing that I think is important, because people compare this to PPP, because it was in the same legislation. And with PPP, you needed to ask for forgiveness. You needed to use it for only certain things. This is wide open. You can use it for whatever you want. Business owners aren't expecting this. So in most cases, it goes to their bottom line and it goes right back to the business owner. It can help employees. It can keep them afloat. I mean, there's many things that you can do for it. And you don't have to ask for forgiveness. This is truly a credit, the best out there from the government.
I think that's where a lot of people might get confused is most people knew what PPP was, right? Payment Protection Program. And that was basically a loan you were getting that maybe got forgiven later. And then there was the EIDL, which the SBA put out, and that was a loan that does not get forgiven. It's just a low interest loan. This is a straight tax credit. And it kind of leads to the next question. This is not something that runs out of money the way PPP ran out of money and the way EIDL ran out of money. This tax credit is an infinite amount of money. Is that right?
Until the Federal Reserve can't write checks anymore and have them clear.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. So yes, you're correct. There's no finite amount of money for this. It's as many businesses qualify, they'll actually write the credit for it. This is a tax law that's already passed. So the program has ended. So what we're doing is actually amending payroll tax very quickly, because you mentioned no one knows about this. The reason for that, I think it's important for a business owner who's very savvy and is kind of wondering, is this a scam or what is this, to understand why no one knows about this. When this first came out, as Josh mentioned, you cannot do both. Mm-hmm. Then it was opened up, but it was still very vague. How do you even qualify for it? And then the IRS actually said, hey, here's a few things that make it very clear how to qualify for it. And then they thought it was going to be wide open. But the fact of the matter is, this is a payroll tax. And CPAs don't deal with payroll taxes. They don't deal with those forms. It's a 941X form that we're dealing with. They've never filled that out. So I think what you were alluding to is, why hasn't my CPA told me about this? We deal with national CPA firms because they don't want to deal with it. It's not worth their time to deal with. It's a very busy work tax credit. With the PPP, it didn't deal with accountants, but who was incentivized? It had to go through a lender. This doesn't go through any infrastructure that's existing that is already in place for them to take advantage of it. It's just a tax filing. And your CPA, who typically takes care of that, isn't doing it. That's why no one knows about it.
That's, I opened the show by saying we've got a great accounting team. We love them. Mm-hmm. They bring incredible tax planning to the table. And they didn't bring this whatsoever. And I was like, what in the world? So that actually makes a little bit of sense. So should somebody go running to their tax accountant to apply for this? Or is it easier to go through someone like you who's a specialist in just this one thing?
Well, Fast ERC Experts, obviously, is the website. We've done, at this point, $1.5 billion in filed credits. We've helped thousands of businesses. At the end of this, we'll probably be the largest specialty tax service with ERC. So there's a few reasons why someone wants to go with us. This is a new credit and it's wide open and unknown. So we've taken it very seriously. We can go into all the details of what we've done to make sure that a company can go in and feel good about getting substantiated, getting qualification, and actually getting the credit at the end of the day. They can definitely go to their CPA, but what will probably happen at this point, their CPA will acknowledge that this does exist, but that they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, they would have already mentioned it to them if they would do it. And I think like what you're asking about with the specialists and stuff, it reminds me of, just because my friend's an attorney, if I'm going through a divorce, I don't just use him. I want to use a specialty divorce attorney. And that's really where, because there's like this weird gray area. Who can help me with this? Well, the CPA, the majority of them aren't doing payroll. Okay, well then talk to payroll companies. Majority of them aren't amending this. They're doing active payroll each and every quarter. So it's like, okay, well then who can help me?
Yeah. So if you're a business owner and you're thinking, okay, this is a payroll form, 941. Well, who does that at my company? It's typically a software program. QuickBooks, ADP, Gusto. There's 80 different software programs that will automatically file that without you even knowing. But there's not a lot of people behind that, especially in infrastructure to do a manual credit like this. We deal with a lot of those types of companies too that don't have the infrastructure to support this credit.
What was the intent? Why do they offer all of this money?
Well, that might be a political question. My personal feeling about that is it is meant to prop up the economy when money needed to be poured in. We're dealing with the opposite effect right now where they're trying to shrink it with inflation. But this is already tax law. You have 2.5 years from when 3 years from when the 941 was originally filed to be able to amend it. But you do want to get in the door quick because there is a chance that they could amend it and do away with it. Mm-hmm. And they are getting backlogged. So you want to, if you feel like as a business owner, you want to pursue this and look at it, You can go through the website, go through the questions, no obligation. We never ask for credit card, payment information. We'll go all the way through up until filing the credit before we even talk about that. And we do charge a percentage of the credit, nothing up front.
What's really interesting is, I did a lot of research into this. People don't need to worry about their credit score. They don't need to worry about if they qualify from like a lending standpoint. They don't have to do anything other than have employees while we were all dealing with the garbage of COVID. And if you did, then answer a few questions and you're likely going to have qualified for this. Is that a fair statement?
Very fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about a newer company like mine where I was not launched, but I was in business and, I got super delayed. I thought I was going to be launching last year, but due to just manufacturing and COVID and all of the things, I really was on complete hold while still holding on to my employees.
Kind of like PPP, you had to have your business before a certain time frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people were like, oh, dang, I don't qualify. Well, they made this where if you are before a certain time, and our survey questions, our questionnaire that you talked about, Chris, goes through that.
Yeah, the date is February 15th, 2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
So if you start a business after that, at the end of 2020, in the first part of 21, whatever it is, they have a startup credit that's part of it. And based on your questions, our system will tell you, hey, you do qualify for the startup credit that the ERC added for this.
It's really interesting. For your audience, maybe this might be where they gravitate towards. ERC, everything we've talked about up until this point, with the exception of the startup credit, does have qualifications to it. Mm-hmm. And generally speaking, maybe 60 to 70% of businesses qualify for it. Not everybody. On the other hand, with the startup credit, there are no limitations in qualification other than a top line revenue. You can't make more than $1 million in a year after you started this business. But as long as that doesn't apply to you, then you can get a refund. You're already automatically qualified at that point, a refund on W-2 wages that you paid, and it goes up to $100,000.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
70% of the wages, payroll, W-2 wages that you paid out, up to $100,000. It's almost that simple.
I sometimes call it a rebate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Paid. So
that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense why, because it's called the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit. It makes sense why if you had been in business before the pandemic, you're getting a credit per employee. But companies like Lori's, beverage company, supply chain issues, hasn't made a penny yet, has been burning money the entire time due to not being able to launch due to supply issues, started after the pandemic. The fact that they still qualify, those are the companies that need this the most. So it's awesome that both sets of individuals qualify.
Yeah. And you asked the question earlier about why did they come up with this? And, Mark gave his opinion. The one thing that I've kind of noticed, because I kind of thought, why did they start something like this? Well, now that a lot of companies have been receiving their checks the last few months, I've been getting calls from those clients saying, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to start another division within my company now because I have this extra money. So seeing that stimulus and added to our economy, that's, I think, one of the obviously the reasons why they did start this, something like this.
Yeah. And coming back to it, when I said it's political, that's the political, I think, answer is, of course, to help the employees, of course, to help businesses, of course, for business expansion. I kind of think sometimes a little bit more, the underlying reasons for it. And that is they need to get billions of dollars flooded out into the economy or else the bubble bursts. Anyways, but it's both of those, right? It's a win. This program is one of the few triple wins out there. It's a win for a company like us because we can offer a product without charging anything up front. Mm-hmm. And that product, if you want to call it that, is, as you mentioned, Chris, free money. Mm-hmm. We can't really say that. So it is a tax credit. And we can help them obtain that or qualify for it or see if they qualify for it. And the government, too, is trying to get money out into the system and all the benefits of that program. And so it is a win-win-win all around.
People, they might hear this and think, oh, too good to be true. You can literally go onto the IRS website and search ERC tax credit, and it's all there. Like literally the 10 trillion words explaining who qualifies and how and all that is there. Now, it's convoluted and hard to understand, but you can go there for yourself and totally understand it. Oh my God, this is a real thing. Nobody was talking about it. And I think, didn't they recently bump up the amount? Wasn't it a tiny amount at first? Nobody cared to talk about it. And now it's much larger.
Yeah, the steps to it is it started out in just 2020 credit, which was up to $5,000 per employee.
Yep.
And then with the American Rescue Plan Act, they opened it up to 2021, which at one point was an additional $28,000, $7,000 per quarter. So that was a total of $33,000 per employee. But with the infrastructure bill in November of 2021, they were actually faced with the decision. They said, no one is doing this or knows about it. Do we fund it with more education and actually educate businesses owners, or do we just scrap it? And they decided to scrap it, which at that point they were able to get rid of Q4. So that brought it actually down from 33 to 26. But it doesn't mean that a business owner can't participate. You do have some time to be able to amend what has already taken place and participate in this.
Yeah, it's super cool. Like I said, I went through the qualifications and figured out for one of our companies, we'll get about $160,000 in money back, which is a significant amount of money. Now we just learned that you with your company, because of supply chain issues, you're going to get something back. Who knows? We have to go. It's huge for launching, right? So people would be silly not to go check this out. Again, if they want to go check it out, they can go to fastercexperts.com. So talk to me real quick here as we start to put a bow on this thing. Why are the two of you guys doing this? Why did you make a company of it? I know you have other successful companies. Are you just like bleeding hearts, want to help everybody? Or is one hand wash the other? What's the why behind this?
Kind of like what I was saying about having that oil company. I mean, my background's commercial real estate, and I was just trying to find extra stimulus. Because no one could help me, number one, like I used to tell people for the first 6 months of this company, the first thing I'm going to try to do right now is convince you that this is not too good to be true. I used to say that was my opening line. Because myself, when I was trying to find this program and someone could help me, I even told myself, this is too good to be true. Like, there's no way that this is legit. Because we're able to form a company that way, we then saw like there's a lot of business owners out here that don't know about this. Let's make a company out of it. And, you talk about supply chain. That wasn't even one of the amendments. The questions when we first started, it was, you had to have a 20% revenue loss and you had to have a shutdown in 2020 and under 500 employees, right? So because there's been so many amendments, I say that also because as this has gotten bigger, like bigger as in, I should say longer, November 21, it was amended again, like Mark was saying, with the infrastructure bill. So people may have looked at this before. Their tax person may have looked at this and said, you don't qualify. Well, it's been changed so many times that they could qualify. I mean, Forbes did an article, 6-8 weeks ago, that 70-80% of businesses under 500 employees qualify for this.
Wow.
Yet 7 out of 10 business owners, in my opinion, don't know about it.
I'd say 9 out of 10. I have so many entrepreneur friends. Nobody's talked about this.
No.
Nobody.
No. And it's easy to get validation. Like you said, you can go to irs.gov. You can look it up. You can talk to your CPA. CPAs, for the most part, know about it. They just don't know where to get started. We do all of that. That's what our service is to make it super simple to get qualified, to know which documents to upload, for us to calculate the credit to the penny, maximize the credit because there's several factors there, and then actually file for it. And then if there's ever communication with the IRS, taking care of that as well. You asked why we did this. I think that for me has evolved a little bit. I'm an entrepreneur, just like your audience. And so I've started different businesses. Some have been wildly successful, a lot of failures. This was one of those. This was a need that needed to be met. So I think that was the onset of why I wanted to do this. But something happened like a week or two ago. I don't know if I even told you this, but someone paid us our fee, which is a percentage. So because this is a large credit, it can be substantial. I've never had anyone write a several $1,000 check and in the memo, thank you.
Wow.
Like they were very grateful to pay us several $1,000s for our fee because they were getting 100 and something grand. So that really just defined what this is doing for people. They are truly grateful. And not to toot Josh's horn, because he's the founder of this. Without him, we've been able to help tens of thousands of businesses. And I think through your podcast, you're going to be able to help thousands of businesses as well. Without that, as an advocate, like you said, they wouldn't know about this. So you can have a substantial effect to a business owner.
It's not being talked about in my circle. My circle is highly entrepreneurial. What about yours? Have you ever heard of this?
No, and it's needed. I mean, I keep hearing about how obviously things are going up. Ads are going up in order to get eyes on you, visuals, things like that. That's going up. I mean, this could make a really big impact. I know just personally in my business, I know exactly what I can use it for. So I'm sure people listening know exactly what they could use it for, but no, it's not being talked about.
So let's talk about a couple fear points to put a bow on this thing. Do people owe you any money to find out, or is it until they're getting money, they're not paying a single penny?
Yeah, that's also coming back to too good to be true. When we saw that possibility with business owners too, we decided rather than having payment up front, and because the IRS does take 6 to 8 months to send us money out, let's go ahead and just do the filing for free.
Yeah, do all the work.
Not for free, but no money up front. And we'll get paid a percentage on whatever they get when they get the money.
That's cool.
That way, so that way business owners was more open to that. Like, oh, I'll definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there's a few steps. So the first step would be going to the website, going through the questionnaire. Takes as little as 10 minutes is the average time it takes. That gives us the information to know what quarters they do qualify for. And then the next step is a little bit of work, and the only work on the business owner, and that is uploading some documents like a 941 and employee reports. It takes 10 minutes, but for whatever reason, that's the only step that some people just hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
Right. And then we go to work and take all that information. It's a busy work calculation, formulate the credit. All the way up until that point, if the business owner wants to walk away, they've never been even asked for a dime.
That's incredible. Okay. I love the idea that there's no money paid until they're actually getting their money back. Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be. That's how you know something's super awesome and legit. I love the way you guys set it up that way. I urge everybody, don't get to the questionnaire. Go to fastercexperts.com. There's an easy questionnaire. Don't get there and be like, oh, I don't want to do the 10 minutes of questions, right? Don't be lazy. Go through the 10 minutes of questions. Then whatever paperwork it tells you to upload, it's just another 10 minutes. Email your accountant and say, hey, do you have these forms for me? And then, or your bookkeeper, hey, do you have these forms for me? Upload them. And after that 10 minutes, your work is basically done as the entrepreneur. Now it's in your guys' lap, right?
Yeah, I think that's the highest hourly rate you'll ever earn as a business.
Ever. At least that's legal.
Yeah.
I love it. Guys, thank you for doing this. Thanks for being on the show. It means the world that, you're willing to spend the time educating everybody. And hey, this is out there. Otherwise, we wouldn't hear about it. You're not leaving it up to chance that it just falls into someone's lap. You're being real advocates of this. And of course, you're going to make a profit from doing it. And I applaud that. And that's why we're excited to help you get the message out there. So everyone listening, go to fastercexperts.com. Like I said, we found out we're getting a windfall from it. Now we found out Lori's business will probably get a windfall from it. On top of that, it's 10 minutes to fill out the questionnaire, 10 minutes to upload some documents. Don't be lazy, because that's the best wage you're ever going to get in your life per hour. I love how you said that. But guys, it means the world that you're rolling up your sleeves and making it easy for everybody.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing. And I'm so excited that you are just out in the world, making sure that everybody knows about it.
Oh, you guys are helping with that. Lori, Chris, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Our pleasure, guys. So everybody listening, here's your chance. Go to fastercexperts.com. Again, go to fastercexperts.com. Fill out the quick questionnaire, find out what you're going to get, and you can thank us later. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. And I want to make sure that you have my phone number, and I'm not kidding. Did you know that I have a community text number? For real. My phone number is 310-496-8363. This goes directly to my phone. All you have to do is text the word daily to 310-496-8363. And I literally text you every single day, Monday through Friday. I actually just got done 30 seconds ago texting a bunch of people back, and I talk to you all of the time. You guys, people always ask me how I got my community text number and how it works. Well, all you have to do is you can just go to community.com and get your own. Community makes it easy to get a phone number that you can use to build your audience using text. People just text you at your number and they're added to your group. Then you can text them out audios, video links, anything you want. You guys, I text out happy birthday videos. I love to send podcast links, thoughts about life, book recommendations, different events that I'm doing in the local area. Texting gets me out of the noise of social media and directly into your hand. And now you can start texting your people too. Just go to community.com to get your phone number. They give you a 10-digit real phone number, not those weird short codes that look like spam, but it's more than a phone number. Your new number comes with an inbox for SMS and texting. This means you can actually manage your text list from your computer and an app on your phone. You can schedule text to send at certain times and to certain groups. You can even set up auto replies or let your assistant or customer service team answer your text messages via Community's awesome dashboard. Just go to community.com and ask for a free demo. They'll show you how it works and get you your number. It's time to start texting your audience versus just posting on social media. Everyone uses Community for that. So go check them out at community.com. I can tell you, it's not just great for communicating with my audience, but Chris and I use Community and our texts to also sell out our launches. I'm telling you, you get such an incredible response because you really are creating a true, deep sense of community. And it's so intimate. It's freaking amazing. Go check it out at community.com.
Want to know a huge secret to my success? Okay, not only my success, but just about every single person that I have interviewed on this podcast who is successful has this in common. You guys, they love to journal. They capture their life lessons and what they're grateful for. But a lot of people don't keep this up consistently. And most people do know that the research shows that journaling deepens your gratitude and increases self-awareness. But did you also know that journaling decreases stress and helps you achieve your goals faster? In fact, journaling is a huge differentiator between average performers at work and high-performing people. It leads to longer-term clarity, confidence, and success. So why don't more people journal? Why didn't I journal consistently? Honestly, they don't like staring at a blank page. It's hard to carry a book around with you or a notepad, and they just don't even know what to write about, or they just forget. That's why I know that you're going to love Growth Day. It's the world's #1 system for self-improvement, and it's like all-in-one personal development in an app. And it has an awesome digital journal, and people love it. Growth Day's digital journal has hundreds of research-backed writing prompts for self-reflection, positive mindset, confidence building, and success. I use them all the time, and it makes me think in ways that I typically don't, and it makes me ask myself better questions, which we all know gets better results in our life. It even has prompts that help you develop a daily, weekly, or monthly habit of reflecting on your life and identifying areas to grow. So it's a perfect time of year to start journaling, you guys. When you sign up at Growth Day, you also get systems for habit tracking, goal setting, and scoring, and improving every area of your life. Best of all, I get to teach there too, you guys. I'm so excited. I hope that I get to see you. I teach live in Growth Day every single month with a new topic just for you. So join me there. Start your free trial at growthday.com/Lori.
Hey, do you know what the big secret is this year? And it shouldn't be a secret because this should be your biggest focus. It is building your community. I am always working on building and nurturing my community, and everyone is talking about the power of community. Without an online community, you just cannot grow organically or create a real movement, which is what I know that we're all after. And you can build trust or monetize your audience. When you get community right, not only does your audience grow faster, but so do your sales. But where's everybody going to be managing their communities these days? And a lot of online entrepreneurs and thought leaders are turning to Circle.so. Circle is an all-in-one community platform. It lets you host content and create discussions, live streams, group chats, and memberships all under your own brand. And what's so cool about Circle.so is that you don't even need a website or Facebook group. Instead, Circle lets you build your own community site where you can host content and manage your members. You can even create locked and unlocked content spaces, groups, and classes. How freaking cool is that? You can put your content behind a paywall too, and you can charge different amounts of money for different spaces on your community site. Circle.so is famously easy to use, and it has a free 14-day trial for you, so you can go check it out, see if you like it, see if you love all the options. Just go to Circle.so. Go check it out right now, you guys. Imagine being able to manage your community, start group chats and live classes, and accept payments all in one place. Kind of mind-blowing since this is usually spread all over the place. You have to log into so many different things. If this is the year to capture, organize, and monetize your community, head over to Circle.so You can get a free trial and start building your online community right now. Just go to circle.so. You guys, you get the 14-day free trial. So just go and see if it's for you. It's going to streamline everything and make your life so much easier. It's so freaking cool.